Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Hostel Discourse. Today we will be discussing the Star Wars Force Awakens BluRay and DVD release, which was just yesterday, Tuesday this week, as well as a fun debate question that I know every Star Wars fan has an answer to. And I won't reveal it now, but we'll come back to it later. With us, as always, we have Joe and Jared, my fellow Hostel residents, as well as my older brother Mike and Tim.
Hi.
Hello.
Let's have some fun with these introductions. Everybody, give your favorite Star Wars line to start things off. Joe, you can go ahead.
Yeah, my favorite Star Wars line is also the worst line. It goes a little something like this. Sand. I hate sand. It's coarse, and it gets everywhere. Great line.
Oh,
Said by
man.
Anakin.
That was a pretty good rendition of that.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right,
practicing.
Jared, what's yours?
I think I can top you for worst line.
Oh.
And it's from the greatest character in the whole saga, Jar Jar Binks. And it says, "We set in big doo-doo this time."
That's a good impersonation.
All right, Tim, what's yours?
Sure. I'm going with the first serious answer. My favorite line is from Yoda, who I'll also be talking a little bit more about later in the podcast. My favorite line of his is, "Do or do not, there is no try."
It's a classic.
Yeah.
A classic.
Great
Very
motivational line for sure.
Mike, what's yours?
There's too many to choose one, but if I have to pick one, I love the scene where Han is in the cell bay, shoots the microphone and says, "Boring conversation anyway. Luke, we're gonna have company."
Great one.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a good moment.
Yeah, it was definitely hard to decide, but I chose to go with the funny one, so I made it out of a Japor snippet. Great
Or
line.
the one that I always quote is, "Storm's coming up now, Annie. Better get home
home
quick."
quick.
Whenever there's like clouds coming.
Or a spoonie dopod slamo.
Any young Anakin.
Or a Yoko da Bantha Pudu.
Was that Sebulba?
I believe so.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
For sure.
All right, well, we got a bunch of new material yesterday on the DVD and Blu-ray, including a feature-length documentary, a few deleted scenes I wasn't that impressed with,
Yeah, I wasn't either.
and a few featurettes going into more detail of some aspects of the movie. What do you guys think? Were you impressed with the documentary? I know we all watched it. I actually watched it twice, back to back.
And took like 3 full pages of notes.
Yeah, that too. But I'll just say my first note was Gwendolyn Christie's laugh is atrocious.
Yeah, that was really bad.
The most atrocious laugh for the worst character in the movie.
Yeah.
Ooh, I
Captain
don't
Phasma.
think she got enough time to shine, personally.
Well, that's why I don't like her, though. I think she could have been cool. They just didn't do anything with it.
Well, like, we know she's a good actress.
She's
from,
having
like,
a
Game
big
of Thrones
role in
and
the next
stuff.
movie, I believe. So that'll help.
Really?
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so how does she make it to the next movie? You know?
Well, like, if Luke and all them could get out of the trash compactor in episode 4, I think she has a chance, too.
But the whole base blew up like
Yeah.
30 minutes after she was put in there.
She runs really fast. I don't know.
Yeah, she and Kylo Ren escaped the exploding planets. I think they'll be all right.
Well, they did show a lot of like design behind the scenes of how they made her and stuff, and it's a really cool design for a character. I just am sad that they didn't pull it off in episode 7.
Yeah. Watching the behind the scenes stuff, one thing I liked a lot about what they did with episode 7 was they stuck with the like puppet looking creatures, like the not CG. Because going into it, I was kind of expecting like it's going to be Star Wars, but it's just going to be super animation. And I was excited for that, but I was actually really pleased that they kept with like the 70s look of, I don't know, monsters, aliens, stuff like that. I thought it was really cool. And Admiral Akbar's in there, and he looked exactly the same. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Even had the webbed fingers.
yeah.
I agree with Jared. I really liked, obviously, how they really stuck true to holding the original trilogy as like their inspiration, using a lot of the same effect styles. Like, I was really impressed looking at the behind-the-scenes documentary on how they made the creatures and how much of it that I thought was CGI was actually practical effects.
Yeah, I'll say I was kind of underwhelmed by the big documentary, but I thought that the smaller, little shorter things that highlighted very specific parts of the movie were really, really interesting. And yeah, those creatures they built, some of those animatronics were amazing.
Mm-hmm. one of the X-wing pilots, I thought for sure was CG when I saw the movie. I don't know what type of creature he is, but the whole mask was totally animatronic, and they showed his like lips moving minutely and stuff. That one was crazy.
Like the horse guy. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
And it like followed the guy behind him talking. Like a real person would talk, and the guy's lips would move, which were kind of cool.
Neat. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, and almost every character in that cantina or whatever you call it, Maz's castle, was real.
Yes, yeah, that was
pretty
super
unbelievable.
surprising, yeah.
The main documentary, I wish they would have had more actual behind the scenes of like Daisy and John Boyega. Like that's the entertaining stuff, and that's the kind of stuff that made like the Lord of the Rings behind the scenes and special features so good. It was like stuff surrounding making the movie, like real life stuff instead of just like interviews and stuff like that.
Oh, completely. I mean, that documentary was very interview heavy, and they just showed a lot of footage from the movie, like clips that you've seen in the movie, as opposed to like fly on the wall, candid, actual behind the scenes stuff, which I prefer.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they're just saving more footage for like the super special edition that comes out in 6 months, or?
I didn't realize.
Probably,
I mean,
or
it's
they
not,
just
hasn't been
didn't
announced,
shoot a
I'm just-
lot because they're
Yeah,
trying
they
to keep
gotta
it so
wait
secret.
for
I don't know.
Christmas.
Another note I took: the Lucasfilm archive tour looked like the coolest
Yes.
thing ever.
Yes.
That would be so awesome.
It did, yeah. The like the big Death Star model
Yeah.
Yeah.
was so cool.
JJ was just sitting there staring at it. It's like, oh, that looks fun.
I'd
Yeah.
like to steal everything in there.
Maybe that's the plot of National Treasure 3. Just to steal everything from in there.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage, no way he can pull that off. No way.
He might steal the Declaration of Independence, but he's not
No
breaking in,
Lucasfilm
man.
stuff. No way.
At 2 times watching these special features, I almost teared up and cried. One was when they showed
Is Mike laughing? Classic brother.
filming
man.
the Chewie We're Home line, and then when they showed Han's last shot with Kylo
Yes.
Ren, and then afterwards they're like congratulating him, and Chewie gives him a big hug.
Yeah.
Big
And
hug. Yeah.
It was just so emotional.
Except the one like funny thing about that was when they were actually shooting the shot where Kylo Ren kills Han, like he doesn't have anything in his hand, and it just looks
Yeah.
kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess it
Yeah,
was
that
just
must
good
have been a
action.
practice take. That was really strange.
Yeah.
I would assume when they actually shot that, he stabbed it with something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Like a knife. Maybe not a knife.
Yeah, and
Harrison Ford is a hardcore actor.
I was impressed with all the lightsabers that actually were glowing on set that they used, because they needed that light from
their
there
faces,
to make
yeah.
it more realistic. But yeah, that would make sense for them to actually be using one of those lightsabers for the glow on Kylo and Han's faces when he stabs him right there.
Right.
So,
What do you guys think of the deleted scenes though?
I was really disappointed, mainly just because whenever the most recent Blu-ray update of the original trilogy came out, there were oodles and oodles of really great deleted scenes. Like Return of the Jedi had a completely different intro where we actually see Luke constructing his green lightsaber, and I was really hoping for something to that degree. But then again, maybe it's like I'd imagine with the Lord of the Rings extended edition trilogy, they probably waited and compiled a lot more special features for that than the individual DVD releases.
Yeah. But the thing is deleted scenes generally suck.
Yeah, there's a reason they're deleted.
Generally,
Yeah,
there's a
that's
reason
true,
why,
yeah.
why they got rid of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like
And
Dave and I were
none of
watching
those
one,
were really
we
completed
couldn't stop
either.
laughing at how badly acting there was from one of the extras,
Oh,
right when
gosh.
Finn is on the operating table. And she just comes up
Yeah.
and gets like within a foot of Rey's face and is like, "It'll be okay."
friend's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
And then it's like
And
a
walks
2-second
off.
pause.
yeah. It was
Up
so
in her
strange.
grill.
Okay, thanks.
I said that scene with Princess Leia that they deleted was terrible too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think there's a good
So
reason why
bad.
they deleted
Wait,
why
which
they
one
got
was
rid
that?
of it.
When the guy walks up, he's like, "There's been a massacre on Jakku," and then she's just like, "Oh, like whatever." Like she's like, so like uninterested in the fact that like people just got killed.
Yeah.
They talked about how that was her first day on set,
Yep.
Exactly.
and how it was her worst day of filming any movie.
Yeah.
So it definitely showed.
Hey, really quick, while we're talking about Carrie Fisher and I guess hating on her a little bit, Jared and I were just talking about this. She has the weirdest grandma clothes on ever in her interviews. It's
Yeah.
like fluorescent pink with like pink glasses and just like pink everything. It was just hilarious.
Yeah.
I think she was definitely stealing from the wardrobe they used for some of the alien designs.
Yeah.
She's a total nutcase. She's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, many years of drugs have led to where she is right now.
Yeah, and one of those substances had to have destroyed her vocal cords. Her voice just sounds terrible and gravelly. What do you guys think of the Cantina song or the Maz's Castle song? It's kind of growing on me, but when I saw it originally, like I couldn't remember it after seeing it once.
No, I couldn't either.
I enjoyed it the third time I watched it, but it wasn't until that point. Like it was very just unremarkable until I really paid attention to it. But I thought I kind of enjoyed it.
I feel like I still haven't really heard it because it's not on the soundtrack.
Oh,
Like-
it's not?
Do you know the whole story behind that song?
No.
No, I do not.
Have you heard of the musical Hamilton? That's like a huge
Yeah,
hit on
yeah,
Broadway
yeah,
right
yeah.
now. J.J. Abrams went to a performance of Hamilton and was going backstage, and he talked to the main dude whose name's like
Lin Miranda.
Lin-Manuel something. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I believe Lin-Manuel like joked to J.J. like, if you need a song for your movie, let me know. And like the next day, J.J. Abrams called him. He's like, hey, you want to write the Cantina song? So he wrote the song in the Cantina.
Oh, no way.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Which I guess is why it's not on the soundtrack, because they didn't have the full rights to it or something. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I didn't like it. Like, not even that it wasn't memorable, which it wasn't.
Can you hum it?
No.
No.
Like, ooh, doo, dee, da.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, it's just not a good song. It's just not a good
I was
song.
trying to remember it because it's pretty funny to sing the guy's voice, but I can't remember it right now, and I've
Yeah.
seen it like 6
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
Yeah. Joe is close right there.
Yeah, that's just the intro. I don't know where it goes from there. I just know the one part.
Nothing will be as good as Jedi Rocks, though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's not even close.
Or terrible. That is the worst scene. That scene they added in Jabba's palace is
Yeah.
so awful.
It's really bad.
All the like just extra monsters they added in 30 years later.
You mean the hot Twi'leks?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, head tails though.
Jared knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Is it Twi'leks or Twi'leks?
Twi'lek.
Really?
Yeah, I think
got-
Twi'lek.
Twi'lek.
Yeah, I don't know.
They talked about something that I think it was the first time they said it, but Poe's character was supposed to stay dead, and they wrote that in later. That was really interesting because Oscar Isaac
I did not know that.
said he'd been killed off in like all of his movies, and JJ and the writers wrote him in later.
Yeah, we don't want him to become the next Sean Bean.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah, I'm so glad they kept him in because Poe's my favorite character.
Mm-hmm.
He's so, I don't know, he's Han-esque, you know, like he's
Yeah.
charismatic and funny and stuff.
But following that point, I actually like that he's more of a team player than Han was. Because I think what this movie needed was a really strong new rebel or like resistance character to really carry the mantle
Yeah,
that the
true,
previous
true.
generals and like fighters had.
And he's just like the leader of the resistance squadron. It's just so cool.
Yeah, Joe, how many people did he kill in that one scene you counted?
Yeah, 13. 13
Wow.
in one scene.
Yeah,
And they fly over the
shot,
lake.
that
Yeah.
shot that's on the ground with following Boyega looking up at Poe is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the exact
Yes.
one Joe's
Who
talking
do you
about.
think?
Yeah.
Who do you think the better pilot is, Poe or Anakin Skywalker?
I'm a pilot, you know.
I don't think
So wizard.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't
this is
think
hot.
Poe has the Force, so I gotta say Anakin.
Yeah, that's true. Fair
I
point.
just feel like we never really saw Anakin. I guess we saw it a little bit, but do like anything too crazy.
I mean, and he was just fighting droid ships.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
which may be harder. Who knows?
Sorry, I was gonna say the beginning of episode 3 when he and Obi-Wan are flying
Oh, yeah.
around. There's some impressive stuff there, but
Yeah.
it is just droids. You're right.
A lot of like unnecessary flips and stuff in that scene from Anakin. There's a lot of barrel rolls that like he may or may not need to do.
Yeah.
One of the featurettes was about the script read through, which they posted a picture of that way before the movie came out. But I just thought it was cool how they had Mark Hamill read
Yeah.
the script. Probably partially because he had
Had
no
no lines.
lines, but he's an amazing voice actor who has voiced the Joker for years and years. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I could listen to his voice for a long time.
Yeah, I remember being
Well, I
so
could have
surprised.
seen an hour more of that featurette.
Yeah.
Like that's a big complaint about this Blu-ray is like I could have watched 3 hours of John Williams recording music. I could have watched a lot more clips of BB-8 being pushed around.
Yeah.
Yes.
That entire table read I would have watched,
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's only so much that can fit on a disc, but still.
I have to tell you that my favorite part of the whole behind the scenes is and actually my favorite character in the whole movie now is the guy in the green suit that pushes BB-8 around on a little car.
Yes.
A little green hoodie.
He's my favorite guy. Yeah.
He's wearing a green hoodie in 140-degree weather, sprinting with pushing BB-8.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and they did a really good job at hiding that that's how they did it. I mean, not only in the actual movie, but also in press and stuff. Because every time you saw BB-8 in public before the movie came out, he actually was rolling onto stage, and they had him at Celebration, and they had him at the Oscars and whatever. But the fact that they had that entire rig and they completely got rid of it on every single shot was really impressive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also liked how they used the R2-D2 from a fan. It was just a guy who made it on his own because he was electrical engineer, and then he talked to Kathleen Kennedy and was like, "Hey, if you need an R2, let me know." And they called him up.
Yeah, they're just
I
so
wrote
cool.
down R2-D2 nerds.
Yeah.
Star Wars convention
Making it
nerds
big.
who made it in the movie. It's so cool. BB-8 was designed by J.J. Abrams on a sticky note. Yeah, it showed it on the featurette, and then the designers took it from there. But that's really sweet that, yeah, just like that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Oh yeah.
He just drew a ball and put a half circle on top of it. They described it as a snowman with no midsection or chest or something.
One of Ralph McQuarrie's original, initial sketches for droids in Star Wars Episode 4 actually featured a droid that looks somewhat familiar to BB-8, and you could even say maybe some inspiration was taken from there.
Did not know that.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't talk about that in the featurette.
The lightsaber duel featurette was ridiculous.
Yeah.
They showed them for a little bit, but designing that set, and they had a backdrop 360 degrees around that set. They imported those, they're real trees in there. That was just crazy how realistic it looked.
Yeah.
750 boxes of snow
Yeah.
they used.
I assumed it was a real forest.
Yeah. So did I.
When I saw the movie.
And then the painting they did, like you were saying, David, on the edges, on the perimeter, they had it fade out with the paint.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's more impressive is that there was probably very little CG used for that. Lucas would have shot that in a studio, but he would have just thrown a couple trees up and just added everything else later. The fact that most of that was probably done in camera, most of what you see, obviously they enhanced things, but it was a darn good set. It was really, really
Yeah,
cool.
it was amazing.
They also showed Adam Driver practicing on that set. I think he was in a tank top or something, but he was a lot more jacked than I thought he actually is, which was kind of cool because it makes him more formidable.
He was a Marine, so.
Yeah, his arms were bigger than it looks like in his Kylo Ren robes. Mike, what do you think of John Williams? And he even said, I don't know how much longer I can do this. What happens if he can't make the music for episode 8? Who do you think they get?
Well, there's a difference between who I think they're going to get and who I would want to do it. It seems like Giacchino is kind of the go-to. He does most Disney movies. He's a pretty good composer. He did Star Trek with Abrams, so he has a relationship with Bad Robot, assuming Bad Robot's at least partially involved in the next ones. My favorite composer right now is a guy named John Powell. He did How to Train Your Dragon. It's probably his biggest most orchestral one.
Yeah,
if you
it's
listen
Italian
to that,
Job.
it's legit. Yeah, he did Italian Job, but some of his newer stuff is much bigger and grander and more thematic, a lot like Star Wars. So I would love for him to take over once John Williams, they said he's 83, I think 84.
Yeah, 84. Yeah, John Williams in one shot was conducting with one arm and leaning on a railing with the other arm. I felt so bad for him.
Well, and he gets a lot of help too. I mean, not physical help, but he has people that help arrange things and orchestrate things. He writes themes. Someone else fleshes it out for him, and then he stands up there and conducts it. Not to take away from any of his talent, because he certainly knows what he's doing. But it's not just him, and so I think it's definitely possible for someone else to do it, especially if they're allowed to use some of the same stuff, same themes, which of course they would be. So.
Yeah.
All I know is if you wrote Ray's theme, then I'm extremely happy. 'Cause that's my favorite song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. It's great. I also love the song from the very end when she's walking up the steps.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is like a new theme. He doesn't bring that in until the very end, which I assume will be Luke's new theme or like whatever
Yeah.
in the next movie.
Can we talk about that island for a bit? Amazing.
Skelly,
Yeah.
Skelly Island,
So where was it? Is it Scotland somewhere?
Ireland.
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 I saw it. I seen it.
Joe
You
lived,
seen it?
Joe
Yeah,
lived in
seen it.
Ireland.
Wow.
Yeah, I studied abroad there and like went to it's on the west coast and you can see it and like it just looks so cool even from a distance. But the only way to get there is by boat or helicopter like you see in the documentary. So I wish I would have visited it and had Star Wars come out before I went to Ireland. Maybe I would have. I don't know.
Yeah, I love that location choice for the Jedi Temple. Like, it's so cool. They said it's an old monastery, but I can't wait to see. I hope they have flashbacks or something about Luke's Jedi Academy, more scenes in that Jedi Temple. Maybe Rey's going to be trained there. Who knows? But if the movie starts immediately where this one ended, which would be different from every other movie, but interesting, it'd be cool to have some more scenes in those islands.
Yeah, I believe it's official that it starts immediately after. There's been like confirmed rumors, I guess you could say, that 8 does start immediately after 7.
It would suck if it didn't. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a cliffhanger, and none of the other movies are like that big of a cliffhanger. So that would
Yeah, but what's
sink.
the opening scroll gonna say? Just summarize episode 7.
Yeah.
I think
Rey stretched out her arm.
Yeah.
For way too long.
Yeah.
Luke
Dot, dot, dot.
throws back his hood way too dramatically.
And it doesn't even go all the way down. It
Yeah.
But that's the thing I might be most excited for about episode 8 is to see Luke's role, because it'd just be awesome to have him train a Jedi again. So.
Oh, of course. Going off of
You did
Jared's
so
point.
well the first time.
Yeah, actually, I think Joe does make a really good point. Like, how much will Luke want to be involved with this new event that's unfolding? Just because he's been found doesn't mean that he's going to, want to get the band back together, so to speak. And he's going to probably train Rey, and I don't think I would be curious to see if he doesn't even participate in any direct fighting with Kylo Ren or anything like that.
I hope he does.
Oh, yeah, it'd be cool, but I don't know.
I really just can't even speculate where they're going to go with episode 8. And I really hope it's somewhere good. Episode 7 was amazing, but so much of it just seemed like it was trying to get everyone back into Star Wars, like rehashing old ideas. So like episode 8 just has to be something new, I think. So I think that could be really good, or maybe not, but I guess I hope it's good.
All right. I have a new segment, rapid fire questions. So give your 3 answers to the 3 questions, and then we can bash each other's answers after we're finished. First question, if you could have any vehicle from the Star Wars universe, what would it be? Number 2, which standalone Star Wars film do you want to see most? Number 3, what color lightsaber and what type of hilt would you want?
Hilt.
Joe.
All right, answer to the first question, I want Poe's X-Wing, the black one from the end of The Force Awakens, super cool. Answer number 2, I would like to see a Yoda standalone film. I think you got 900 years to work with. They better be able to make something out of it. Number 3, I would want 2 lightsabers, but I'd only use one at a time, and 1 blue, 1 green.
Way too specific.
Everyone always like loses their lightsaber and stuff in fights, so like then I just have another one.
Would you keep the other one on your hilt or on your waist?
Do you have to earn a second lightsaber? Like, why doesn't everybody just have a backup?
I mean, not everyone wants to fight with 2 lightsabers.
Well, like, what's
You
her
don't have to
face?
fight with 2. You can just have a backup.
No, what's her
That's
face
what I'm saying.
in Clone Wars? Ahsoka, she had 2 lightsabers. They're both green.
Yeah.
I don't know what qualified her to have 2 though.
Anyway,
What period of Yoda lifetime would you want to see?
I guess when he first starts getting into Force, maybe? I don't know. I think that'd be kind of cool. I mean, we just don't know that much about him.
Youngling Yoda?
Yeah, youngling Yoda.
No,
just a baby Yoda.
Did Yoda grow very much? Like, is he born like 3 feet tall and just
He's
never
born 3
grew?
inches tall.
Yeah, it's like that he grew. But he'd have no wrinkles. That'd be such a weird Yoda to see. And maybe he'd have colored hair.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even know much about his race. Like,
No, there's no other. Well, besides the Yaddle, I guess there's no other mention of his species. It's not even named. It's just called a mysterious species on Wikipedia.
yeah.
All right, Tim, why don't you go?
What was the order again? The first one was ship. So
Vehicle, Standalone film lightsaber.
Okay, first one, Slave 1. I'd want it to be the green color from the original trilogy. I just think it's such a cool ship, and I really like how like it takes off like different like lands kind of horizontally and like flies vertically. I thought that was always a cool ship design. Second answer, I'd really like to see kind of a Vietnam-esque Clone Wars with clone trooper-centric characters, like kind of a squad of clone troopers or even stormtroopers.
Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, something like.
Or,
Is that what?
Commando? Is it Commando?
Yeah, like kind of like Commando. That was yeah, of course, just like Republic Commando. That'd be really cool.
That's what
I'd like to see that, and I think the clones that we see in the Clone Wars 3D animated TV show have a lot of personality. They're not just cookie cutter copy paste. So I'd like to see that. Then the last answer would be yellow lightsaber. Haven't really thought about the hilt, just maybe like a polished silver hilt or something.
Sweet. Mike, what about you?
All right, vehicle. Millennium Falcon's too easy, so
Yeah.
I'd say maybe one of those speeder bikes on Endor. That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
That was always one of my favorite scenes. Movie Obi-Wan's too easy of an answer, but it's really probably my top answer. It's not quite confirmed, but it's coming. I know it's coming. But if I were to pick something different, maybe even like some character we don't know, some random Jedi, and just tell their story, like something that's completely apart from everything that's been established might be interesting, just to get more of the world and more planets and whatever. I also really like Lobot. I could have a Lobot.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what he'd do. He doesn't talk. Lightsaber, I don't know. I like Obi-Wan's from the prequels, so maybe a blue with a normal handle. I'm boring.
Sweet. Jared?
I'm gonna copy Joe and say X-wing for the vehicle.
Pose X-wing?
Well, I mean, not necessarily. Just an X-wing.
Luke's X-Wing?
Maybe Luke's X-wing because he is pretty dang awesome.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that later.
I'm gonna copy Mike and say Obi-Wan.
Lobot.
Oh no, actually, I'm gonna change my answer. I'm gonna say a Boba Fett movie.
Ooh.
And watch him like crack some skulls or something. And then
Burn some skulls.
yeah,
Yeah.
incinerate. I don't know. Maybe a white lightsaber would be pretty cool.
Why would you say?
A gold, like I like the gold in the handles, in the hilts or whatever. So with some gold in there somewhere.
Very nice.
Very nice.
I would want Kylo Ren's shuttle, blacked out version from Episode 7 with those tall, skinny wings.
With the black rims.
With the black rims. Then standalone movie. Obi-Wan would be my answer, but that one is actually like probably going to happen. Ewan McGregor has talked about it a little bit, hinted. Besides that, I think like Knights of the Old Republic prequel to Episode 1 would be really awesome. Kind of see where the Jedi came from and the Sith, but yeah, something in that era would be really cool.
Darth Revan, the best non-canonical Jedi of all time.
Exactly.
How far back is the Old Republic set?
It's like thousands of years.
Yeah.
Before
It's a
Episode 1?
while. So there's a lot to choose from there, but and then lightsaber, I'd want 2 curved hilt green lightsabers.
Like Count Dooku style.
Count Dooku style.
Ahsoka. Or no, Ventress, is she other?
Ventress, yeah.
Yeah,
But I
she
thought hers
does.
were connected by like kind of a nunchuck style, like tether.
No, they're separate.
They're separate. Okay.
All right, I think this brings us to our debate of the week. All right, the question is, who is the greatest Jedi? Not most powerful, not coolest, the greatest Jedi. Do you want to start, Joe, or are you too
No, I
scared?
don't want to start.
I can make it easy on us, and I'll just say I can give my answer, and then we could all wrap it up.
Very funny.
So humble.
So we're all,
How about you give yours, Mike?
Well, I mean, the easy answer is Obi-Wan.
Oh, is
Really?
it?
It's easy?
I mean, whether you're talking about the actors that portrayed him or the character himself, he is pretty sweet. I guess he kind of screwed up with Anakin. Maybe that's his fault. I don't know if Darth Vader's his fault or not. But he did, like, sacrifice himself for Luke. So maybe that comes back around. I don't know. I just think he's really cool. And I would love to discuss the Obi-Wan movie momentarily. Because not only would it be great to have Ewan McGregor back, and he's the perfect age to play Obi-Wan between 3 and 4, But if you guys remember Joel Edgerton, who plays Uncle Owen in episodes 2 and 3, he's kind of the squirrely little dude. He's actually like a pretty famous actor and director now. He's been in a bunch of big movies.
He was
He's
in
like
Warrior, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Warrior, and then I think what else? Well, he directed a movie called The Gift that had Jason Bateman in it. He's been in he was in the Ridley Scott Moses movie opposite Christian Bale.
Yeah,
He played
as Pharaoh.
Ram.
God's
Yeah,
a
he was
man,
Pharaoh.
whatever.
Anyway, he's really cool, and I would love to know. I think this is in some of the comic books right now, but I would love to know why Uncle Owen doesn't like Obi-Wan anymore. Because at one point they were buddies, and so you could have Obi-Wan Adventures on Tatooine, get Joel Edgerton in there, who's really cool. Have some Uncle Owen kicking butt, have some Obi-Wan kicking butt, and like figure out why they don't like each other. I think that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, there was this like 2 issues of the second Star Wars comic that came out a little while ago. It's the coolest part of any of the Marvel Star Wars comics I've read. Obi-Wan on Tatooine restraining himself from showing himself as a Jedi because he's in like the shadows protecting Luke from afar. And I mean, I'm sure there's some things he actually does too, but yeah, that whole setting of Obi-Wan in between episodes 3 and 4 would be a really cool movie. Back to the debate. Jared, you're up.
All right. I've been waiting my whole life for this moment. Look, here's the deal. The answer, actually, I'm going to start by saying this. It's going to be Rey. It's going to be Rey in the future because she just got raw talent. And, like, the example is she beat Kylo Ren in the fight and she, like, out-forced him. And she had known about the Force for, like, a day or two. She's just good. She's good. She's going to be really good. She's going to be the best. But
Discrediting your own choice here.
no. She's gonna be the best. But the best right now, there's no doubt in my mind, is Luke Skywalker. And here's why. Okay.
I went to the Tashi station to pick up some power.
That's the best line right there.
Yeah, that's a great line. No, but here's why. Okay, the greatest Jedi is the Jedi that accomplishes the greatest things. So let's go through a list of what Luke Skywalker's accomplished, shall we? He destroyed the Death Star, killed the troll ugly thing in the basement of Jabba's palace with no weapon.
The Rancor.
The Rancor.
Yeah, the Rancor without a weapon.
How did you not know that, Jared?
Yeah, that's my bad.
What a fan.
Look, he converted Vader from the dark side to the light. And he endured Force lightning better than like anybody ever had. So let's think about this for a sec. Anakin in episode 2, Count Dooku, who's just like, it's got to be way less powerful than Darth Sidious, hits Anakin with a little bit of lightning, and like he goes flying and is knocked out cold.
Palpatine took the lightning better than Luke did. Palpatine sat there yelling, "Power!" He took his own lightning
Anakin.
better than Luke took his lightning.
It was like a solid 30 seconds of straight lightning
To Luke.
to himself.
Oh no way.
We're
dude.
talking when Mace Windu was just like forcing it back on him.
He was just he wasn't forcing it. He was just absorbing it into his lightsaber. He wasn't forcing it back.
No,
on
he was getting it back on him. That's
why
why
his
he's
face
so
melted.
Yeah, that's why he looks like that.
No.
Go watch the scene next time. But go ahead, continue.
Those things are all really good, but the greatest thing Luke ever did, which is the greatest thing any Jedi ever did, was he discovered the true nature of the Force. He discovered how to actually use the Force the way it's supposed to be used. No, he did. So
No.
check it out.
What?
Yeah. So like,
We think
what's that?
until he tried to train Kylo Ren.
Yeah, that's true. But everybody's got some bad Padawans. Anyway, the point is, I'm wrapping up here.
Everyone's got some bad Padawans.
Yeah, seriously.
Look, just listen. I'm almost done.
Not everyone.
Everyone, like all the Jedi, Yoda and Obi-Wan and everybody, they say that the Force should be like a thing totally devoid of like emotion at all. It should be peaceful. You should let go of all emotions, things you fear to lose, including like family. And Luke didn't do that. Luke like embraced his like passion, his love for his friends, and like with that, he was able to accomplish these crazy things like defeating Vader and converting Vader back to the light side. Two things Yoda said just like would never ever happen.
Well, to be fair, though, Luke's cost to his own life and literally limb was when he decided to go save his friend's Dyer. It wasn't until he barely escaped with his life by throwing himself into the pit on Cloud City that he was able to live and fight another day. And even then, he returned to Yoda, I think, kind of humbled by it. I actually really like the point you made, but I still think, like, Luke definitely made some mistakes, for sure. But
He's not
it ended up fine, but...
Well, we'll get to arguing later. But do you want to go next, or do you want someone else?
Sure, I'll go. I chose Qui-Gon Jinn. It's not funny.
Yes, it is.
Qui-Gon was the first Jedi to become one with the Force after death. He was the first one to become a Force ghost. In the novelization of Revenge of the Sith, there's a couple scenes with Qui-Gon talking with Yoda and talking with Obi-Wan. Yoda says that Qui-Gon is now his master because he's so impressed with how he was able to become one with the Force. Qui-Gon also went against the Jedi Council, which I think was needed. They were too legalistic, and he saw past that and chose to train Anakin anyways. And yes, Anakin became Darth Vader, but if Qui-Gon would not have died, I would argue that Anakin would not have turned to the dark side. He would have been a better master than Obi-Wan, would not have been as brutal in pushing down Anakin's desires, one which was Padme, which I think should be allowed for a Jedi to have love for someone. And I think Qui-Gon really just embraced what it actually means to be a Jedi, which nobody else at the time did.
And he's one of the few parts of Phantom Menace that's actually pretty darn good.
Yeah. There's always a bigger fish.
So many good lines.
Yeah.
All right, Tim.
Okay, mine's actually going to be pretty closely tied to David, specifically on the descriptions and training to talk with and communicate with Force Ghosts, but my choice is going to be Yoda. He's kind of the quintessential Jedi that we all grew up with and really love, and my argument hinges upon the fact that he's the greatest Jedi because he is the wisest and most humble. He fully encapsulates what a Jedi should be. He's the only one that I think really struggles with, and that is a theme amongst all the Jedi, the really great ones that we've listed. He struggles with the fact that he knows he needs to learn more about the Force. He needs to become better at meditating and really training himself to become more aware of what the Force is and how it penetrates and binds everything in the galaxy, and especially himself and the other Jedi around him and the other non-Jedi around him as well.
Now you have to give that argument in Yoda speak.
No, wow, I just I'm struggling right now. I was thinking of a Jar Jar impersonation. I don't know.
Nisa Yoda.
Yeah, Nisa Yoda. I don't know.
That's evidence. Jar Jar, the Sith Lord, infiltrated the mind of Yoda.
Yes.
I guess it would be Yoda Nisa.
Yeah, but going with what David was saying, it is true that Qui-Gon did become a Force Ghost first, but Yoda in the last 3 episodes of the Clone Wars 3D TV show is really struggling with the morality of the Clone Wars and the continued fighting, and he's meditating, and that's when he's open to Qui-Gon talking to him and influencing him. And I think that no other Jedi at the time... There's a reason Qui-Gon reached out to him. It's because he is the kind of the exemplar of what it means to be a Jedi.
All right, I'm just going to say that I wore these Yoda socks today.
Ooh, strike one.
Yeah, but I know that Jared pointed out earlier that's kind of undermining my argument because I'm like supporting Tim, but they didn't have any of the socks that I really wanted, which was Mace Windu. So, greatest Jedi of all time, Mace Windu. Let me just go over.
Oh, I'm excited for this.
So
My
good.
criteria for what makes the greatest Jedi. Number one, 3 things. You gotta be able to wield a lightsaber. You have to be able to be in tune with and use the Force appropriately, or well, I guess. And the third thing is being a great Jedi means that you are a great member of a Jedi Order, and you follow the Jedi Code. So let me read the Jedi Code for you. There is no emotion, there is peace, there is no ignorance, there is knowledge, there is no passion, there is serenity, there is no chaos, there is harmony, there is no death, there is the Force. All right, so that's just what makes a Jedi a Jedi.
Amen.
So let me go over the different parts. First off, Mace Windu is recognized as the greatest saber fighter of his time, lightsaber fighter.
Is that canonical?
I think it is, yeah. Anakin himself said to Padme, quote, Obi-Wan is as wise as Yoda and as powerful as Windu. So obviously Windu is renowned for his power. Windu was the leader of the Jedi Council in Episode 1. He only switched the power to Yoda in Episode 2 when the Clone Wars started. We don't really know the reasons for why he switched. Maybe Yoda was the better commander. Maybe he wanted to focus more on the Clone Wars. Who knows? When it comes to his prowess in fighting, he defeated Emperor Palpatine in a battle, something Yoda couldn't do. He defeated Jango Fett in battle, something Obi-Wan couldn't do. And in the Clone Wars comics, he defeated Count Dooku in a battle, something that Obi-Wan also couldn't do. But so that's my reason.
Yeah, suck it, Mike.
And as leader of the Jedi Council, he definitely is following the Jedi Order. You know, he used the Force well, and he never really got overly passionate, overly angry. He didn't let his emotions cloud his judgment. And one more thing is that he was one of the only people to recognize that, like, Palpatine might be bad. He wanted Anakin to keep an eye on him. He was the first one to see that. And also, he kind of saw the bad in Anakin. And, like, no one else believed him. Anakin may have got pissed about it, and maybe that's why he went to the dark side in the first place. But he kind of was the first one to be like, Anakin, you need to chill out. So that's my reason.
It's actually a very well thought out argument.
Oh,
Good points.
Yes.
Good points, everybody.
Rebuttals?
Jared is just so convinced that he won. I don't even know why we should.
You want to go with
bother.
rebuttals? Let me start with my rebuttals. This is why Luke Skywalker is not the greatest
Let's
Jedi.
start with reading my script.
Hey, it's not my fault you guys didn't. I don't know. Well, I put a lot of time into it. But Luke Skywalker.
Apparently.
Luke Skywalker, really powerful, I guess. But that's not necessarily the definition of great. He uses a Force choke, which to me is just not Jedi.
What, on the pig creatures in Jabba's
On the
palace?
Gamorrean guards in Return of the Jedi. He uses very angry strokes when he's fighting Darth Vader, clearly letting emotions do their course, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. Maybe that is what Jedi should be, but it's not what the Jedi are, according to
Angry
the Jedi
strokes.
Code. Yeah. Watch episode 6 and look at Mark Hamill's face when he's just beating down on Lord Vader.
That's like angry
I got
strokes
it.
is the exact
Yes.
opposite of what Bob Ross
Beaten down
would
with
want you to
angry
do.
strokes.
It's all about those happy brush strokes.
And then more recently, we look at things like, and another thing, he didn't really defeat anybody. He didn't defeat Palpatine. He defeated Vader, which is pretty cool, except for the fact that Vader only had half his body and he was in a big metal suit and he hadn't fought a lightsaber battle in a long time. So a few reasons for that. But more recently, we see that he is a terrible teacher. Kylo Ren turned on the Jedi after learning from Luke, killed a bunch of his Padawans and ran away. And because of that, Luke abandons the Republic and goes into hiding.
We don't know these details.
Yeah, really quick. Do we know who?
We know he killed-
Okay. I'll even say this about Yoda. His Padawan was who would become Count Dooku. So like, it seems like everyone who's had a Padawan, honestly, that we are arguing as a good Jedi, has had setbacks with their Padawans. Now, my question is
Windu
to you,
has it.
Joe. Who is Mace Windu's Padawan?
We don't know.
Qui-Gon, Qui-Gon's Padawan, Obi-Wan Kenobi. No setbacks with his Padawans.
Yeah, the only people without bad Padawans were Qui-Gon and Mace Windu. So, and Qui-Gon
True.
probably gets a plus in that category because he actually.
And you
had
could
it.
say that Anakin was really Qui-Gon's and Obi-Wan inherited it.
Ooh, true.
That's a good point. But also, like, and going to Mace Windu, we have no idea if he ever even had a Padawan, do we?
Yeah, we don't. But I don't think that's necessarily minus. It's not a plus. But
Well, why
Okay,
didn't he
not a
get
plus.
one?
because he was the leader of the Jedi Council. Too busy. Anyway, so that's my argument against Luke. That's basically all I had.
So do I get a chance to like debunk those claims?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Cool. What I got from Joe was that he thinks Luke Skywalker is not a Jedi because he is not a member of the Jedi Order, which doesn't actually exist anymore. Well, here's the thing. We mentioned Wikipedia earlier. Let's think about Wikipedia's definition of a Jedi.
Oh.
Quote, A Jedi was a Force-sensitive individual, most often a member of the Jedi Order, who studied, served, and used the mystical energies of the Force, usually the light side of the Force. So,
By that logic, Palpatine was a Jedi.
yeah,
The light side of the Force.
It said usually.
I mean, not.
I thought Dark Jedi and Sith were a completely different thing.
maybe a fallen Jedi or something, but here's the deal. This definitely encompasses Luke. He's not a member of the Order, but he definitely is these things. Furthermore, Yoda, who we've all already established, is a fairly wise character, tells Luke, when he's on his deathbed, when Yoda's on his deathbed, tells Luke that when he's gone, well, I'll say, quote, "When gone am I, the last of the Jedi will you be." Yoda obviously dies. He's gone. So inevitably that means, this is an if-then, Luke is the last of the Jedi. He's a Jedi. Yoda says he is. Not to mention, Episode 6 is called Return of the Jedi, referring to Luke.
Yoda's wrong.
In Episode 7...
Rey's the Jedi.
okay, in Episode 7...
She's not alive yet.
Yeah, Rey's not alive yet, yeah.
Yeah. He's definitely referring to Luke right there. Episode 7, in the scroll down thing in the very beginning, they're talking about how the First Order won't stop, quote, until the last Jedi is destroyed, talking about Luke. So, like, clearly Luke is a Jedi. You can't count him out as a Jedi. Yeah, I think that was part of Joe's argument, is that a Jedi is somebody who is part of the Jedi Council and practices the Jedi Code. Not true. Clearly not true.
Page 2 of the script.
Says the guy who wrote 3 pages of notes.
I wasn't reading it, was I?
Fair.
Yeah, so that's my rebuttal. I think it's sufficient to say Luke is absolutely a Jedi. So the argument that you can count him out as a Jedi, dismiss him completely, is I think pretty faulty.
All right, ignoring all this Wikipedia crap and whatever else you guys are reading from, if you just look at the movies as a whole, all right, A New Hope, or Star Wars as it was called, 1977. No one knows what the Force is. No one's heard of this thing, and Obi-Wan Kenobi's the one who lays it down, tells us what's up. The Force is what gives a Jedi its power. It surrounds us, it penetrates us, it binds the galaxy together. If we don't have that, we got nothing. So that's why Obi-Wan's the best.
Well, here's the issue, though. Yoda wasn't introduced yet in that movie, and I think he could have.
That's what I'm saying.
Just as
That's what I'm saying. Obi-Wan's the original. Maybe not in the timeline of the expanded universe. Maybe not in the timeline of the actual movies. But the first time we ever learned about this, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So what you're saying is he's the most important because he laid the groundwork for Luke, who catapulted the Force and the Jedi back into existence.
Sure.
Yep, that's exactly right.
All right.
Yoda was so blind to
Whoa.
Palpatine.
No. He was blind to Palpatine, but here's the thing. He was one of the people who was most ardently saying that Anakin is too young. He should not be admitted to the training program for the Jedi. So I think Yoda definitely has a lot of discretion that we might not be thinking about right now.
If we're attacking Yoda, I'd like to take this
Go for
time
it.
to
Please,
attack
let your
Yoda.
hate wash over me.
I'm going to assert that Yoda is actually just not the wisest Jedi. And it's for the reason I stated earlier, that like he didn't actually understand the nature of the Force, or he was like scared to use the Force the way it was supposed to be used.
What?
So bear with me here. Well, Luke uses anger and aggression, like Joe said. He is angry. He has passion when he fights. He didn't turn to the dark side. Yoda was wrong. It's like that does not necessarily lead to the dark side. He told him, if you end your training now, you'll go to the dark side. He didn't go to the dark side, and he ended his training right then. So Yoda, I think he's afraid of the dark side so much that he's scared to even embrace qualities of it that there's a balance, and he's afraid of it. And so these things, he's just wrong. He's not ultimately wise.
The other thing, though, is I think he's wise in wanting to show Luke. He was wrong, yes, but I think he was wise in showing that and telling to Luke that he wanted Luke to use the utmost discretion and please stay and train more, because he really is the last best hope for the Jedi to come back. And understandably, Yoda was very afraid. And even though he says, fear is something that leads the path of the dark side, I think the only option he had right there was to try his best to train Luke and he couldn't do that in the small time frame they had, and that's why he wanted him to stay.
Good points. Good
Yeah.
rebuttals.
No, but yeah, very good points.
I think we have to wrap this up, but I tried to come up with a voting system so we can actually decide a winner. I think the only way to do this kind of fairly is everyone can vote for one other person. You can't vote for yourself. We'll tally up the votes. If there's a tie, the remaining people can vote for who had the best argument for the greatest Jedi. So, you can vote for one other person. I think that Joe, I give Joe a vote for Mace Windu.
I was going to give Joe a vote as well. I was very impressed with his argument.
All right, Joe is 2. Mike?
I'm going with Luke Skywalker.
All right.
Whoop.
Jared's got 1.
I give David my vote.
Oh,
You did a good job. Qui-Gon's the only one. I don't know. I'm not gonna repeat anything. You did a good job.
Joe, come on, make it interesting.
This is funny. I'm gonna go with Luke. So that makes it 2-2. So but then you 3 will pick, and I assume you're gonna vote the same.
I'm voting
That's
the same.
true. So, Tim and I, we both vote for Mace Windu.
So I guess. I went into this not thinking Mace Windu was the greatest, but the more I researched, I was actually pretty convinced.
Yeah. If Anakin wouldn't have messed everything up, he would have killed Palpatine.
Yeah.
Mace, I don't know. I just think he saw through a lot of crap and saw Palpatine for who he was, and it makes him pretty great. All right.
Plus, we haven't seen everything Luke has to offer yet, so
That is correct.
you might.
Or Ray.
Old bearded Luke could do some great things.
Yes.
All right, I think that's about time to wrap up the show. Thanks to Mike and Tim for coming in as our guests on episode.
Thank you for having us.
Rogue One trailer tomorrow.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Really?
On
So,
the Today Show, yeah.
Star Wars Instagram, a teaser for the teaser.
Pull it up right now.
We can watch it after, but it shows a stormtrooper. It looks like a TIE fighter pilot. That's all it shows.
Like
It's really
a
cool.
TIE interceptor, or like what are we talking
Yeah,
about?
they released
pilot.
a teaser for the teaser. It's
So
getting
it's
out of
just-
control.
it's like-
but
Yeah.
Dude, I was
tomorrow
just
we'll
thinking
actually
earlier
have
this
the
week
teaser.
how I can't believe they haven't shown a trailer yet, and I was thinking they're going to wait for Civil War, because that's also a Disney property to show it. But
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. So our first episode came out on Friday last week and was put up on iTunes the next day, so it's pretty exciting.
Nice.
You can watch the video version at youtube.com/thenoob-reaction and listen to the audio version on SoundCloud, Hostel Discourse, or iTunes Hostel Discourse. So also you can follow Mike Rohlfing at Mike Rohlfing on all social media, MikeRohlfing.com, at Mike Rohlfing on Twitter /Instagram. So
Boom.
All the above.
those are all the plugs for this week. Thanks for listening or watching, and we will see you next time.
So long.
thanks.
May the Force be with you.
Always.